The crowd marked the Clarity Act down 6 points the night its blocker cleared. The Senate voted 86 to 12. And the blocker bill is gone. I caught what almost everybody missed last night. So why did the Q finally move? Why is the biggest prediction market down to 30%? And what changes if you hold 2,500 XRP? I'll show you the tape, the clock, and the Trump wildcard. Like, comment, subscribe, and hit the notification bell if you want more XRP news. Let's roll the first tape. Here we see the Senate session from July 28th. 86 to 12. Is what a working Senate floor looks like. Here is what happened overnight, and in a second, you'll see why it matters for your stack. The Senate voted 86 to 12 to advance the Russia sanctions package. That bill now carries a new name, the Lindsey Graham Sanctioning Russia Act of 2026. Here we can see the Sanctioning Russia Act of 2025, but also 2025-2026. The chamber reframed it to honor Lindsey Graham after his passing, and the lead sponsor was Senator Darlene Graham, his sister, who now holds his South Carolina seat. Whatever your politics, that moment deserves respect. Here is what Lindsey Graham said on this exact bill on July 12th on Face the Nation.
We're going after the people who keep Putin in business and additional sanctions on Russia itself. This is truly a sledgehammer available to President Trump to end this war.
Following Graham's passing, it falls to Republican leaders in Congress to make the decision on whether to take it up. Graham had just appeared with us 3 weeks ago to push another big goal: turn the morass of the Iran war into an opportunity for normalization of relations between Saudi Arabia and Israel and a brighter future for Palestinians. He'd work with then-President Biden to try to get that done.
A sledgehammer to end the war. That is the bill that Senate finally moved last night. 12 senators voted no, 10 Democrats, Bernie Sanders and Rand Paul. Elizabeth Warren is on that no list. Of course she is. Every other vote cast was a yes. The tally is on the Senate's own website. You can count it for yourself. So why am I showing you a Russia bill on an XRP channel? This was the bill sitting directly in front of the Clarity Act in the floor line. Yesterday, I walked you through that queue and I told you the put off was about order, not votes. Last night, the queue moved. The Clarity Act, the bill that writes real rules for XRP in America, moved up the line. Hold that thought because the clock comes next. Now the XRP clock. I will give you the real timeline, not the hype version. The reporting this morning says a Clarity Act vote is unlikely before next week, and the Senate floor calendar runs out August 7th. The official recess block date starts on the August 10th. You can see right here. The date sits on the Senate's own 2026 schedule. That leaves roughly 1 working week of floor time. Tight, real, and still open. Listen to Senate Majority Leader John Thune in his own words.
Sanctions, and that's a tribute to Lindsey Graham, who we all are going to, commemorate tomorrow. I think we'll get that done.
Look, I mean no disrespect. I love John Thune. He's better looking than me.
But I think there's also there's a package of nominations. It's about 74 noms that the president's put forward that we're moving them in block. We'll do that. We will probably have a vote on the Clarity Act, which is the digital assets bill legislation that's in front of the Senate. We'll see if the Democrats give us the votes to get on that.
For any members of the audience that are interested in reaching out to their senators, I wondered if you had any specific names you wanted to drop of Democrats that seem like they would be movable.
Also Brooks, Gallego, Warner, Warnock, Gillibrand. I think any of those 18 senators that voted before, I think are fair game targets again.
We'll probably have a vote on the Clarity Act. That is the majority leader talking. Keep Thune's sentence in your pocket because I'll pay it off at the end, I promise. The votes for the Clarity Act have never been the problem. The calendar was. So who benefits when the calendar runs out? The read is that the big bank lobbyists are leaning on this delay to make XRP holders feel beaten. Let's take a read. The Clarity Act faces another delay. The Senate's immediate focus remains on nominations and a Russia sanctions bill, leaving little room for crypto legislation until next week at the earliest. The biggest crypto bill in American history is 7 votes short. Just 10 working days remain. Will the Clarity Act make it across the finish line? They want you to think you're beaten. You are not. In a minute, I'll play you the Trump card that could tear this whole calendar up. But first, my question to you today. Does the Clarity Act get its vote before or after the recess? Drop before or after in the comments. Tap the like, subscribe, and notification bell while you're down there. We can see that the Clarity Act getting signed this year into law is sitting at 28%. That is down more than 6 points from yesterday, but look at what actually changed. Nobody voted against the Clarity Act last night. Not one senator, not even one page on the Clarity Act changed on the direct Congress government website. The only thing that moved was the calendar. The crowd is pricing the delay, not the votes. Old market hands have a name for that. The wall of worry. The strongest moves in history climbed it. XRP has been through worse waits than 1 week. Hold on, because we'll take a look at the live XRP chart right now. The XRP price reads the same as the headlines and refuses to panic. The XRP price sits at $1.08, up 2% today. Steady after yesterday's drop. The traders who only read headlines flinched. XRP holders did not. And the wildcard up next could delete this whole XRP delay. So stay with me, because next is the Trump card. President Donald Trump is publicly calling on Senate Majority Leader John Thune to cancel the August recess. Here we can see his direct post. Trump calls on Thune to cancel the August recess for the Senate until they pass the Save America Act. Here we see Donald Trump's post. John Thune should not allow the United States Senate to leave town until it passes the Save America Act, or far better still, terminates the filibuster, where Republicans can then quickly pass everything they ever dreamed of, including a full, deep-throated Safe America Act, the budget, and ever-looming debt ceiling disaster of 1929. The Democrats will do it on day one and still can't believe how lucky they got with the Senate leadership. Remember, stupidity always brings losing and death. President Donald J. Trump. No recess means floor time, and floor time is all the Clarity Act ever needed. Trump's stated targets are his nominees and the Save America Act, not the Clarity Act, but the legal power is real. Security lawyers, James Murphy, Meta lawman, broke it down on yesterday's Paul Barron panel. He said the president has the legal authority to do it, and Roll Call reported on July 27th that Trump wants exactly that. If the Senate stays, the line I showed you keeps moving. So here is where I land. The bill in front of the Clarity Act is gone, cleared 86-12. My read on the banks. They fight this hard because they know exactly what clear rules unlock for XRP. The crowd is pricing a 1 week XRP delay like a defeat, and it's not. If you hold 2,500 XRP, nothing about your bag changed last night. The Clarity Act that decides what those coins become just moved 1 week closer. Delays end, and this queue is already moving. And XRP holders who hold through the boring weeks are standing there when the vote hits the floor. The Clarity Act did not lose a single vote last night, and John Thune says the vote is probably coming. XRP is still standing at the front of the biggest rule change in American money. Like, comment, subscribe, hit the notification bell, and I'll see you in the next video.